Today I was going to work on disassembling this running gear, and it's pretty old and rusty and bad shape. A lot of the screws have the heads rusted out pretty bad, where you can't get a good grip on them, and a lot of them aren't going to be wanting to turn and so on. So I thought I'd show a little bit of a disassembly of this today, and I'll probably end up using the torch to heat things up and get rusty bolts loose and so on. The only thing with that is got to be careful of what you heat up and where, because if it's an important part, you wouldn't want to, that's got a heat treat to it that's hard, you wouldn't want to do that to it, because you could you'll soften it up from heating it up. And if it's just a regular bolt like these right here, that's not a big deal. You get another one, or you may not make any difference to you. But something like this axle, or this right here runs on, you might want to consider a little bit more. It kind of just depends. You have to use good judgment when you heat things, and also what else is around it. You know, if there's rubber seals or something like that, you'll end up melting. So, in any case, I was going to show about disassembling this, right, wrong, or otherwise. It's coming apart. Okay, now here, after working on this for the better part of a day, working on these running gears here, trying to take them apart, I've come to find out that everything is really tight on there. Just about every bolt, you got to heat it with a torch to get it free enough that it'll unscrew off. And some of the things I can't reach because I need a large socket set, and I'm going to have to borrow Dad's large socket set to take some of it apart. So this right here is as far as I've gotten. That's this side right here, and then the other side looks pretty much the same. You can see down here I've gotten the posts that stick out for to attach the blade, and the little plates off to keep the rock and so on, dirt, out of places they shouldn't get. And here's the pieces that I've gotten off today. You can see the leaf springs down here, and these are those plates that kind of support the blade from going sideways too much and getting into the tracks. And these are the posts that the blade attaches to midway up the tracks. And these upper rollers, and this right here was the one from the right hand side, the plate that keeps the dirt stuff out of the track and the wheels. And you can see this one right here used to be just like that. You can see these little, get my strap out of the way, these holes right here, little half rounds, that's those on this one right here. You can see they cut that much off of this thing. Apparently they needed to get into the lower rollers or something like that, and they didn't want to take these 4 bolts loose and just take the plate off. I don't understand some people. They'd rather do a real hack job on something than doing it right, just taking the 4 bolts off and getting it off. They obviously had a torch, because they burn all that off, so they could have just heated the bolts and twisted them off and got it off of there. And then I got these are the front pieces that bolt on, and I was really hoping to accomplish more in an afternoon, but hey, that's the way it is. I did get all the stuff cleared out away from it and got it jacked up too, so I guess that's a bit of work too. So, and these leaf springs, they have seen better days. You can see this one right here has 2 leaves broke off of it right here. This one's got the end portion of a leaf broke off. It's supposed to go flush with this one. As you can see over here with this one right here, the last 2 are flush with each other. And then this one right here has got one broke off there too. So they're a little worse for wear. Oh yeah, this one's got a broken half right here. So I'll have some work ahead of me. But I think that's it for this evening. I'll borrow Dad's socket set. It goes and get a little more done on it. So that's all for now. Okay, so these bolts are really tight, a lot of them, and I'm having a heck of a time even heating everything bright yellow, or I mean bright orange, the steel and everything. They still are turning out really hard, and some of them, and the heads on some of these are just so bad. They're not a hex shape anymore. They're rounded off, and even with this socket wrench, I've got Dad's big socket set, and they still 6-point sockets. They won't grab on some of them. Now I got a couple of them out here, and yeah, this one's not hateful, but and that one right there, it looks pretty ugly. So what I'm gonna do is on these 2 back ones right here, those right there, like I said, are rounded to the point my socket wrench won't fit, the 6-point socket. And I was kind of thinking about these, that it's a fairly thick casting right here, so I was kind of thinking what I would do is I would on these 2 burn the head off and get this piece to come loose, and then I can get at it easier to heat everything up a good orange or yellow on both the stud and what's left of the bolt and this channel iron. I don't know if I showed you before. This right here is a really thick piece of channel iron. It's probably about 5/8 or 3/4 thick, so it's stout material. But I figured I would get these out, and these right here are what holds this mechanism right here on the back end, is those 2 blocks right there that it pivots on with these 4 bolts, and these 2 things here are spacers to get it aligned left and right, which way you want it to line up with the rear sprocket. And then after I get those loose, this thing right here is guided on this plate that's on the frame. It's guided on that, and it pivots up and down, and this is where it bottoms out on when it goes all the way down, and there's something on the bottom too where the track goes all the way up. And then it had these leaf springs that push down on it. So once I get those and the rear loose, this whole mechanism should slide right off of the front. So that's what I'm going to go for next, and then I can get it out away from the bulldozer and flip it around upside down or side on its side or whichever I need to do, and I can start taking more things loose kind of more comfortably. I got to noticing too on these lower rollers, this has these little loops sticking down, and it's one more little obstacle to reach around with a socket wrench when you're trying to take the two bolts off that hold this piece that supports, that mounts the wheels, the rollers. On the ones on the inside, it's a little more in the way to reach. So if I can flip it upside down, that'll make things a lot nicer to get those loose. But that's what I'm going to go for next, is to get this off, I think. Alright, well, that's off. One other thing to consider is that there was a bead of weld on the other side also that somebody laid down right over here. That might have something to do with it's loose. Alright, well, I'm going to work on sliding this thing out off camera and see what I can do with it. Alright, well, as you can see, I got it off and moved it out, kind of more out in the open where I can deal with it. There's some of the rear end pieces for the transmission. So, in any case, my next plan of attack here is to heat these right here up and twist them off with a pair of channel locks. When I was beating around on it there before, I had mentioned about a weld. They had, where that block was bolted on here, they put a bead of weld right across here and right across there on both pieces. This one right here did not hold or anything. It wasn't the healthiest of welds by any means. But this one right here, these ones right here kind of held on a little more so. They were, I don't know, they're welded cast iron, so it's not going to hold very strong, especially the light little bead that was on there and the way it was done. So in any case, let's see how this right here works. Oh yeah, too, this right here, I switched this out. This is a rosebud. It'll heat it up a little quicker. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do with the whole rest of this thing, and one on the other side too, because they're in there pretty good. And they seem to come out with threads looking halfway decent on them. So it'd be nice if I could reuse the threads in here if I didn't tear them up. So probably next clip will be of this thing all separated apart. I don't want to bore you with all the boring part of taking all these bolts loose. So that's pretty much my technique so far here, what I was going to try to do. So that's about it. Alright, well here it is, all apart. I finally got it there. They burn up quite a bit of acetylene and oxygen doing this, but I got 4 rollers off and the keepers that hold them on. These right here are the spacers to space the pieces of C-channel. There's the big spring that was inside of this housing here, and the end coil is busted off right there. And there's the rod that goes through the whole deal to keep it together. And I made a spanner wrench to fit the nut. This nut right here, there's 4 holes in it so that you can tension it. So I didn't have any way of dealing with it, so I made one. And there it is there. I'm going to cut it off so it'll fit in the toolbox of the bulldozer. But until I get it all apart, I'm just going to leave it long. And oh yeah, one of these rollers was wrong. It was a wrong piece. This one right here sat a little further out than it should have. If you look, this one right here, all the rest of them are like this. They have the shaft have a flat ground on it that's almost half the shaft. This one right here has just got a little flat on it, and it's way past center. And it set way up in the air, and the caps that were on it, they only caught on a little bit of it and would sit rock sideways. You can see it's only catching a certain little bit of it, versus this one right here catches a whole lot more. So this right here isn't the right shaft through this wheel here. So I'll have to give that a little attention. And I cut the end off. This had a square head on it to mate to this, but I was going to replace that shaft anyways because of the threads. So I know how long it is, so I'll make another. Here's the two halves that hold this wheel, and that's about it. Now I have to start working with the other side. So that's it for this video.